Okay, listen, I want to ask the question. Manaski had a study, and I'd like you to pipe in on this. I mean, we talked earlier this morning, people saying, well, it's this T-ball thing. These kids don't want to do nothing. Millennials we're talking about. Oh, they're whining. They don't, they didn't vote. Now they're out protesting, blah, blah, blah. Okay? It's T-ball. It's every kid gets a trophy of participation. I don't necessarily agree with that. I'm a little more optimistic than that because I think our kids are pretty darn competitive today, right?
Yeah. I
think they're as competitive as we were. And as a matter of fact, this is probably the most educated generation in the history of the world. They've been brought up on computers. Most of them can whiz around a computer like none of us can. And they also are incredible with video games. So I'm not sure where this all goes. We'll know when they grow up and they're taking care of us. But at the end of the day, is there really something wrong with this generation or even the younger? Is it because of T-ball or is it because we don't spank anymore? So I'd love your opinion on this. 7360186. Here's the results of the study.
Okay, just to recap here, this was from Georgetown University. They went to the University of Chicago's General Social Survey. They found that the percentage of mothers in middle-income families, this focused on middle-income families, who reported spanking their kids dropped from 46% in the late 80s to 21% recently. That's a 25% drop over basically two decades. The study also found that there's a growing movement for things like timeouts, removing kids from the environment in which the bad behavior took place. That increased to 81% in 2011, and it was at 41% in the late 1980s.
I want to ask here, and I'll ask your birth year, and let's just see, we have 4 people in the studio right now. Birth year and whether or not you were spanked. We'll go to Andrew. Birth year and were you spanked as a kid?
1990, and for a good part of the early childhood, yes.
Oh, you were? So over the knee?
Yeah, just a solid slap.
Okay.
A solid spank, yeah.
Across the face.
No. It was a
you were
spank on the behind.
Okay.
But then a lot of it was just my mom had to yell, and that was enough to induce physical pain.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Her shrill.
Manaski, birth year and...
83. Oh, yeah.
You were spanked. And... Stephanie.
She's on the phone.
Okay, so 1964, and absolutely was. So I'm not sure. Now, my parents regret it, though. They very much regret it today.
Yeah.
And tell me that it was wrong. They shouldn't have done it. They feel that spanking was wrong. Now, some people are going to say that that the reason kids, you see them in the stores running all over the place, the reason is because they're not spanked anymore. I will tell you that I have 3 kids, and we never spanked our kids. And I feel they're respectful, and I never had any reason to spank them because you can discipline. That can't. I mean, the timeout thing. Are you going to use timeout?
I absolutely will use timeout.
It works.
So
it does work.
See, I need some advice here because, and again, my son's going to be a year old next week. Don't think I'm putting him over my knee and
beat him,
taking the belt off
kid.
Or something, right?
Yeah.
It's never too early.
He'll try to open cabinets, or there might be something on a shelf that he's grabbing at. So we'll tell him no. So I'll grab his hand and give him a little, no, and I'll pull his hand away. I'm not.
There's no pain. I used to do a little flicking thing. And I'd be yelled at by my wife for, but a little flick will do you. Were you spanked, Stephanie? What year were you born?
I was born in 83.
Holy cow.
But I was not. I wasn't.
You were
spanked.
not spanked.
No, just a spray water bottle, like you do with your cat or dog.
Are you serious?
She was also brought up in a kennel, and
her mother would take an old Pepsi can and put quarters in it and throw it at her just to make the noise. Wow! If I have to take this rolled up newspaper and come after you,
oh my God!
It's funny. Stephanie would just see the newspaper and she'd know to stop.
Well,
was your brother spanked?
No, we not.
Because
both of us were not.
Because Julie says here that my brothers were spanked, but girls were never hit. Okay.
See, it's funny. My girlfriend, she has 2 other sisters than her, so 3 girls in her family, and her mom and dad were corporate punishers. and they actually are very disciplined now. So in a way, she says that if she has kids someday, that she'll do the same because it helped make her. I don't think.
I got to tell you, my opinion is just me, and everybody parents differently. It is not the spanking that does it. It's the persistence. It's about getting your lazy rear end off the couch and disciplining your kids. And I've been there. I don't want to get up. Oh my! Johnny, stop it! Stop it! You do that again, I'm going to get you. It's the failed promises. You do that one more time. That's what causes the problem. It's not the spanking. It's following through. It's like, okay, listen, I told you you're going to sit down. I mean, I had kids that were easy, 3 kids, one from the scale, one really easy, one a little tougher, and one that really challenged us. And it was about, you're going to sit down. And that means we're going to sit down in the middle of a mall, and that's what we're going to do. You're going to sit there while everybody else goes off. I'm not saying we did it right, but we never had to spank, ever. Maybe a flick or two, and maybe once I did backhand a little bit in the rear end area. But that's about it. I didn't have to do it. Let me go to Jim. Jim, what do you think? Hi, Jim. You're on the radio.
Yeah, how you doing there, Bill?
Good.
I think the big difference today in kids is, nowadays they don't teach kids to be adults and look forward to coming up to be an adult. I should say. Mm-hmm. It's like nowadays, kids wear bicycle helmets now. I'm a dinosaur. I'm 65, but let me tell you, the whole time I rode a bicycle when I was a kid, I never rode a helmet. I don't know of anybody who ever got hurt falling off a bicycle.
I know where you're going.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you take all those things in consideration, they're trying to. Maybe it's the wrong word to use, but pussy up boys nowadays. If you notice.
All right.
And it's not I'll tell you what, it's just a damn joke.
So you think that we're not manning up? Boys are not being brought up to be boys, and we're trying to protect them.
And girls aren't raised up to be girls.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I'm all about. If a woman can do any kind of a job, I'm all about that woman doing a job. Or if a guy can do any kind of a job, I'm all about that. But what they're trying to do is stifle what people have born into them. Okay.
Okay.
And it's not. I don't think it's a good thing.
All right.
I mean, boys are going to be boys nowadays. If they get into an altercation in school with another kid. Okay, they call the sheriff department. Somebody gets arrested. Be real. Good Lord. When I was going to high school, I was probably in 4 or 5 fights throughout my high school. I'm still friends with those guys to this day.
I got to tell you, I don't think it's in all places where the authorities are called, but and wearing helmets. It's required. Kids got to wear a helmet.
Listen, Jim, I wear my bike. I wear my helmet because I've fallen off my bike. I mean, that's not to say I'm too bright, but still, I'm wearing my helmet.
I think they ought to outlaw that bar that goes across the bicycle that the girls don't have on their bikes, because when you slip off that God blessed pedal and you land on it's the most painful thing. Now, that's what we should be protecting from. Because that hurts. Okay, that's all I have.
It's the whole system. It's the whole system. I mean, let me tell you, you got boys. Yeah, I raised 2 boys, and they're both highly successful, and they've done really well with their lives. But let me tell you, I didn't spare the rod with them.
Yeah. So did you spank your kids? Did you spank them?
Yes, I did.
All right, that's the question.
And I'll tell you what, and even today, it's not like they aren't running around some sort of weirdos because they got spankings when they were a kid.
Yeah. All right, Jim. I want to move on. Lucy on the line. What do you think there, Lucy?
Oh, hi.
Hi. Oh, Lucia.
Bill.
Lucy.
No spanking. No, it's not necessary.
You didn't spank.
No, I have 2 girls. Never that happened.
I think it is. Is it different with girls where you don't spank girls, but boys maybe get spanked?
Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But you did not do it.
I don't believe in that. I just don't.
You didn't have to do it. All right, Lucy.
No.
Good. Bill, what do you think? I'm not sure I could go as far as taking away all the helmets and all that stuff. I mean, are we bringing our kids up to be wusses? Bill?
Hi, good morning, Bill.
Good morning.
Yeah, you remember the old saying, you spare the rod and spoil the child. I was born in 57, so most naturally I did get my share.
Mm-hmm.
My mother would come at me with a chair and a whip to break me and my siblings up from fighting. And after that punishment, she would say, "Wait till your father gets home." I think
I heard that a million times. Yeah,
I think that's the worst thing. Worse than being hit or slapped.
Right. Yeah, it's worse than getting punished at school. It was worse than wait till your father gets home and hears about this one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. So you were spanked, and did you spank your kids, Bill?
No, not really, because that didn't really have any reason to.
That was I got to tell you, I didn't have any reason. When something came up, you had a punishment in play, and I never had to. I just never had to spank.
Yeah,
maybe I was
to the room. That's basically about it.
Yeah, maybe I was far more deserving. I just needed a spanking. I don't blame my parents for the spanking. I don't hold it against them at all. I say to them, I think you did okay. A lot of people that listen to the radio would disagree with me. Sergio is on right now. Good morning, Sergio.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. What do you think?
Well, in all the years I've seen different people do different things, I have to say that you never threaten the punishment unless you're willing to carry it out.
And that's what I was talking about earlier. That's key to the whole thing, right?
Yes, it is.
I'm going to ground you for a year. Why would you say that? Because you know you're not going to do that.
Right.
Right. And I've seen a lot of people will be like, I'm going to smack you if you don't behave. But then the kids know it's always just talk, so they just talk back, and it just escalates. But, like, if you're going to say you're going to get a timeout, then you got to make sure they get the timeout.
And the other, that talking back thing, if you allow that to happen once, it'll happen 1,000 times over.
Right. Yeah.
Right? And I you can be firm. There are many gadgets that can be taken away. I don't know that you have to spank, but I got to tell you, you got to be firm, and you got to stand by what you say. And if you waver, I mean, these kids are smart. They know you're going to waver.
One of the punishments could be like, you're going to go up to your room for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Well, that's not much of a punishment.
Not
the kids got all sorts of computers and Game Boys and stuff like that in the room.
Yeah.
I know my wife does. She goes strips the room before she
Yeah, I got to tell you the same. The internet goes down, the phone. No, you don't take the phone with you. It's sitting downstairs where I can see it. And I got to tell you, my daughter will kill me on this, but I had taken away her, and we talked about this off the air, but I had taken away her iPad, or her iPhone, and all of a sudden I come home, and she's got she's coming into the house, she's got the iPad. I'm like, what are you doing? So, you said I couldn't have my iPhone. So you got the iPad.
It's the same thing. You just can't
It's the same thing. It's just bigger.
No eyes. No eyes at all.
That didn't go well. Sergio, interesting. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.